There's been an investigation into this. It is a disciplinary matter in government. The Prime Minister has insisted, quite rightly, on firm discipline. And that has led to Michael Gove apologising and to one of Theresa May's special advisers resigning. That is the matter dealt with, and extremely firmly and correctly. The most important thing, of course, is the issue itself of extremism in schools. And Michael Gove will make a statement tomorrow about the results of investigations into that. The government will take a very firm and robust line. We are not going to have extremism contaminating the education of children in our schools.
Do you think we have a problem with Islamic extremism in this country?
Well, that's why there's been an investigation, and Michael Gove will therefore speak about it. I don't want to prejudge what he will say tomorrow. Of course, the Department for Education have already established a counter-extremism unit. They've already improved teacher training standards on this issue, but he will speak further tomorrow about what we're going to do.
Well, yes, so more findings revealed tomorrow, but do you think there could be a threat, potentially, to national security?
Well, we're alert to all threats to national... I'm not going to prejudge the investigation. We've got to listen to the investigation. We've asked Ofsted and the Department for Education to do that, so let's have the investigation. But what people can be sure about is that this Home Secretary, this government, take all threats to national security extremely seriously, and we will deal with any such threat.
It's going to make things a little uncomfortable around the cabinet table, isn't it?
Well, I think it's good that discipline is asserted. That's a healthy thing for government. Of course, in all governments there are sometimes disagreements between ministers or advisers or departments. The important thing is that the Prime Minister of the day sorts that out. This Prime Minister does that, and he's done it in this case as well.
If discipline's so important, then you must have been pretty shocked by the lack of discipline that's been shown that's brought us to this point.
Well, there's been an investigation and it's been dealt with. As I said, we will be very focused on dealing with the issue. And nothing takes away from the fact that Theresa May is our Home Secretary, who is bringing about a sustained reduction in crime in this country, who is utterly rigorous, in my experience, in dealing with all threats to national security. Michael Gove is an Education Secretary, doing a fantastic job of raising educational standards in this country. And these will be, in the long term, much more important than the headlines of today.
Sent to John Brittan, who was at that time Secretary of State, and it was subheaded Extreme Problems Caused by Hizb-ut-Tahrir Governors in Our Schools.
Was this the same?
John Ray has been warning about the influence of hardline Muslims in Birmingham's schools for 2 decades, concerns that, thanks to the alleged Trojan Horse plot, the authorities have finally woken up to.
Including John Major, Jeff Rooker, the local MP. It reveals something that is true. And it reveals a mess that the City Council has not been able to check the development of this whole infiltration, this whole seeding in of governors of one particular ideology, who have presumed that we can just take over. They're quite right to presume it, because we've allowed them to just take over. And they're not people who have the welfare of the children at heart.
As chair of governors at one Muslim-majority school, he took the concerns of several school leaders to the government in 1994.
You may be aware of the general nature of the problems we are facing through the infiltration of members of the extremist group Hizb-ut-Tahrir and fellow travellers into our governing bodies.
He met the then Minister for Education, and the group even wrote to then Prime Minister John Major.
Government certainly couldn't be other than aware, or also of that letter I've shown. Government could not be other than aware of those concerns.
Golden Hillock is now one of a number of schools expected to be put into special measures by Ofsted amid allegations that pupils were segregated and staff who did not conform to conservative Muslim views were bullied.
If concerns had been listened to back then, the direction this school and others in Birmingham took might have been different. But instead, it's claimed, things were left to escalate.
The Department for Education says it's been tackling extremism in schools since 2010, and Birmingham City Council is conducting an investigation which will also look at retrospective evidence. The plot outlined in the Trojan Horse letter is widely believed to be fake, but it wasn't until the outcry it caused that the very real concerns about what's happening in Birmingham schools began being addressed. Concerns, it's now clear, date back 20 years. Efwa Hirsch, Sky News.